Stitches, and welcome to the Sewers Club Jacob's Ladder block sewing tutorial. Today we'll be following along with the instructions in our free pattern, which can be downloaded on our website using the link in the description. All of the materials used in this tutorial can be found below and purchased on our online shop. This block measures 12 inches unfinished. We recommend using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a 1.8 stitch length throughout this project. Let's dive into the cutting. For fabric A, you will need to cut 2 5-inch squares. For fabric B, you will need to cut 10 2.5-inch squares. From fabric C, you will need to cut 2 5-inch squares and 10 2.5-inch squares. So let's start by sewing our half square triangles. To do that, we're going to take 1 5-inch square of fabric C and 1 5-inch square of fabric A, and we're going to place them right sides together like this. Then we're going to take a ruler and a marking pen, and we're going to draw a diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right corner. And this should be on a 45-degree angle. So it should look something like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this to your sewing machine and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch away from both sides of the line. And it should look something like this when you're done. So after it's sewn, you're going to take your ruler and a rotary cutter and you're going to split the block on the line that you drew. Just like that. So now you're going to take this over to your iron and you're going to press it open to the dark side, which would be like this. And once you're done that, you're going to take your remaining 5-inch squares to create a total of 4 half square triangles. So once your half square triangles are sewn and pressed, you want to trim these down to be 4.5 inches square. So next, we're going to make our 4-patch blocks. To do that, we're going to need 2 of the 2.5-inch squares of fabric B and C, and we're going to lay them out like this. And then we're going to take them and place them right sides together. And you'll take this to your sewing machine and you're going to sew that 1/4 inch right on this side here. And once these are sewn, it'll look something like this. And I just wanted to show you, when you iron them, make sure that you're pressing them in opposite directions. And this is important because when you go to sew these 2 pieces together, because the seams are ironed in opposite directions, when you place them together like this to sew, if you see here, the seams are nice and tight together. So when you go to sew this, your 4-patch block is going to look nice and crisp. So now you're going to take this to your machine and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch away from the right. So once it's sewn, you should have something that looks like this. As you can see, I pressed my block already and I decided to press this seam open. You can press it to the side, it's really up to you. You're going to repeat this on the remaining 2.5-inch squares of fabric B and C to create a total of 5 4-patch blocks. Now that our 4-patch blocks are sewn and pressed, we can trim them down to be 4.5 inches square. So now that all of our pieces are ready to go, we can start assembling the block. So to do that, we're going to start with our 4-patch blocks, and with fabric B in the top left corners, we're going to place 1 on either corner, the middle, and the bottom corners, making sure that they're all facing the same direction. Then we're going to take our half square triangles of fabric A and C, and we're going to lay them out like this so that they're pointing inwards to each other, fabric A that is, just like this. So now we're going to take these pieces and we're going to either chain piece them together or sew them into rows and then sew the rows together. And once it is sewn together, You're going to be left with something that looks like this. At this point, your block should be measuring about 12 inches. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you found it helpful. Please hit that like button and comment any questions that you have below. Thanks for watching!